Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent live from the Atzenhofer studio, beautiful downtown Victoria, where it looks like things are drying up a little bit, but
77 and sunny is the term used. I think it's cloudy. Tomato. Heading to a high today of 70, heading to a high today of 90 with no real, there's a little bit of rain forecast at 9 a.m. That's weird if you look at it. The timeline says 10% and nothing else, but today it says 40% chance of rain. So it's probably going to have some spotty showers today. 77 to 90 is the official AT Deerland feed, the little gin that could.
Yeah. Still watching that system that dumped rain in this region. And as it enters the Gulf, it does have potential to develop into a tropical storm. They're saying about 60% chance over the next 48 hours to 7 days.
Moving across towards, we need a green screen as we move across towards Houston. Is it that kind of a deal?
I think it's even closer to that by now.
It's moving which direction though?
It's moving towards Louisiana.
Okay, there you go.
Moving away from us.
Good.
Yeah. Scott Tomko, Bobby Leister, Marvin Mickish on the podium this morning. It is Caldo Wednesday, getting into Veracruz for simply the best Caldo in town to go along with a menu that includes the best Mexican food that you will find. That storm, at least one person died. A Bandera County woman. Car was swept into a creek early Monday.
Went into the creek?
Yeah, went into the creek. She called 911. Told the 911 operator she was floating downstream and could not escape. The call dropped, and crews then found her in her vehicle, submerged. Hours later, lots of high water rescues.
How does that happen? I don't know. Do people forget that in general, until it displaces so much water that it sinks, a vehicle only has 4 points of contact with the ground.
Yeah.
The four bottoms, pieces this big, bottoms of the tire. It doesn't take a whole lot of current to sweep an F-250 off of a bridge. Don't be the idiot that doesn't turn around.
I think turn around, don't drown might be the second worst advertising slogan ever.
Right, let me think.
Right behind.
No.
Okay.
The worst one, is it like a text dot deal, like arrive alive kind of deal?
Don't mess with Texas. Texas might be the most litter-bound state I have ever been through.
Well, you can draw your own conclusions. It's sadly, well, I don't know. We've got plenty of white trash too. There's just people that choose to leave their dirty diapers in the parking lot. I can't think of anything more selfish than the parent that doesn't just take your dirty diaper with you or take the time to walk up and put it in the trash can.
Yeah.
The idea that you leave that diaper in a parking lot for an 18-year-old kid who's busting his tail to collect baskets, buggies, carts, that kid, the fact that people do that is the trashiest thing on the planet.
It's not even that. It's the highways. People just litter. They throw stuff out of their cars. They don't care.
I think that we all need to do a better job of calling people out on it. I've done it. I've gone over to people in their car at a parking lot. They'll open and just like throw a wrapper out. And I've gone over and knocked on their window and go, here, you dropped this. And they look at you stunned. They don't ever go, get away from my car. They just go, oh, I'm sorry. They're not sorry. They opened the window and threw it out. And I'll take it back to them and go, hey, you ever see somebody at the grocery store, since I'm just ranting about people I don't like, you ever see somebody at the grocery store that knocks something off the shelf, looks down at it, and keeps going?
Yep.
It's
not their job.
I always say, hey, I'll get that for you because it's obvious you're in a hurry. I'll get it for you. And I've always done that. And now I'm getting to the point where they're like, oh, man, if that old man is going to do that, I guess the least I could do.
Yeah.
Victoria County named in whatever you're about to read.
Yeah, the severe storm disaster proclamation from this past weekend. Did we really get that much rain and have that much damage that Victoria needed to be included in the 101 counties?
No, Texans just Texans always whine about the weather. That's the truth. That's the AI Greg Abbott telling you. That's the dumbest thing ever. We didn't even have any.
We didn't get hard. We didn't get a lot of rain like they predicted.
The river didn't even come out of its banks.
I think it might flood at Bloomington where it always floods when even somebody spits upstream.
Yeah, you flush a toilet and Bloomington's got water issues.
So,
hello, Ralph Salazar.
Victoria, one of the 101 counties included in the disaster proclamation.
Does he have an opponent for governor? Is he just trying to show that he cares about every county?
Because there were tornado threats. How do tornado threats cause widespread damage? That makes no sense.
Were there little like dips of funnel clouds coming out?
Now
hazardous wind gusts, large hail, heavy rainfall, rectal bleeding, itch, seepage. Yeah, come on. Side effects could include cloud seeding. Side effects could include tornado activity. Maybe that's the deal.
Heavy rain.
See, I agree. I think it's election time, and he's just trying to look like he cares about Texas.
Why not throw all 254 counties or whatever?
Right? Why discriminate?
I don't know. It just makes no sense at Victoria. That's why I wanted to elect.
That'll be the deal. In these harried times, cloud seeding is necessary to get us plenty of rain for our reservoirs. Side effects could include localized flooding, rectal itch. I mean, right? Because you get that fisherman's itch from do you ever do that?
That's why I don't fish.
Oh,
I don't want the fisherman's itch.
Oh man, it is a real thing, and the struggle is real. It's like, you got the hard-boiled eggs? Yep. You got the Gold Bond medicated powder? Yep. Monica, I'm not saying that's indicative of a problem. Speaking of Bloomington, did y'all see the post of the Narcan vending machine installed there? Got a loved one ODing?
Is it free or they got to pay for it?
Oh, no.
Because most places Narcan's free.
Is it? Well, maybe just go get your little Narcan. Take another hit, Billy. It's okay. I've got the Narcan.
Someone somewhere is going to say, Governor Abbott doesn't care about us in this county because he did not include us in the disaster declaration in June.
That's a true story.
That will be part of, that'll be on an election time mailer. You watch and see. Let's see. If it does become a tropical storm, it would be named Arthur, and it could become one later today, although Weather Service this morning says 60% chance of formation.
Governor Abbott ignored the suffering in Hidalgo County.
And that's down from yesterday where it had a 70% chance of actually forming or turning into a tropical storm. So, interesting.
I can't think of anything other than the only reason that I know that this matters is for insurance purposes. There are folks that have named storm coverage. It has to have it can't just be
but you can't add anything once a storm enters the Gulf, either along the Texas coast. You can't add anything to your insurance policy.
They call it the box. Yeah. And when a storm enters the box, insurance companies put a moratorium on writing new insurance. The reason being, it skews the market. If everybody sits on the sidelines, nobody pays premium, and then they come in and buy it for that 1 month when there might be a storm, then there's not enough money to go around. So not enough money to give to Iran.
No.
What do you got here?
Now they're saying the screwworm, dozen cases still. I don't think that number's moved since Monday, but now they're saying that
as we've talked about,
it could devastate the hunting industry, which is worth about $9.6 billion in Texas and New Mexico. But I don't know. How would it? I'm curious as to how would it decimate the hunting industry?
Well, because if wildlife, remember that deer and animals that roam, they often have little nicks and cuts and barbed wire scrapes and little bitty, to us, open wounds. And if the screwworm can start to spread through the wildlife, it'd be great if it could spread through the wild pig segment of our outdoors. But it could kill a lot of deer. And the deer, while the deer are technically property of the state, the white-tailed deer and other warm-blooded wildlife could cause the spread to go undetected because you don't see the deer. He's got a scrape and he gets the screwworm, then he gives it to another, and then they tell two people, and then they tell two people. And next thing you know, we got a real problem. Two
cases in LaSalle, 3 cases in Zavala County, 1 in Gillespie, 3 in Edwards, 1 in Sutton, and 1 in Tom Green County. That has not changed, I think, since Monday.
So from the, I don't think that it's so significant how many times Ash and I have told you things, whether it be Biden not running for re-election, or that COVID was a joke, or whatever, that we've been just proven right. Am I?
Yeah, and I think
over.
I think you nailed that one as far as even the timing.
Yeah, and I did, and it was way ahead of the Main Street media curve. There's no disputing it. The evidence is on the archive. I had one that I've been telling you for about a week, and a simple Google search this morning proved that I was right. I heard Mike Slater talking about this on Breitbart this morning. He said that there is a group within the Republican Party that is encouraging J.D. Vance to be more visible in the place of the president at multiple events, with the idea being, and I'm not buying into the idea, I think this is a tit for tat argument from the left. I'm not buying in that the president at 80 is losing his cognitive skills. I'm just not buying all that. I'm not. I think the left is reaching there to say, you said it about Biden, we're going to say it about you.
Yeah.
Never mind that it was absolutely observably true about Joe Biden. And it led to his demise, and it led to him being dismissed by the Democrat Party. But a simple Google search brought up this morning. Vice President J.D. Vance has significantly increased his public presence, appearing across major television networks and participating in a high-profile media tour. He's doing a book tour to promote his new book, Communion, Finding My Way Back to Faith. That makes perfect sense. You do a book about your faith because that humanizes you to the masses. And then you also later do a J.D. Vance, Carnivore, My Way. You do a diet book and you talk about your journey back to physical fitness.
And then he'll do one about grooming and his beard.
Right. J.D. Vance, a man maturing. Okay, so look, network interviews. He's been on highly visible news programs, including Fox News, CNN, and NBC. Hostile media strategy. Vance recently sat down for an interview on ABC's The View, navigating challenging questions about the economy, race, and administrative policy, and 2028 speculation. The ramped up visibility is highly viewed by political commentators as an effort to bolster his national profile ahead of the 2028 presidential race.
I'll give you one other thing. I think it's more than that. I think it's to make him more visible for the 2026 midterms and soften the rhetoric against Donald Trump because, hey, this is the guy who's the vice president. This is the guy, if we keep things rolling for the next 2 years, will be the guy that you can vote for president in 28. That's right. I think they're trying to appeal to the moderates and the Republicans, the independents, those that aren't obviously sit more centrist. And I think this plays into that by advancing and elevating J.D. Vance's role. He softens Donald Trump.
Yeah, and right here, CNN reporting, J.D. Vance is trying to be everywhere this week. Yeah. And he confesses on The View that he's a Epstein conspiracy theorist.
Well, I think there's too many people there's probably fewer people that aren't than there are that are, because even this morning there's a story on CBS about his former roommate telling him, he says he told Epstein, I mean, he's in jail.
His cellmate.
Sorry, roommate, whatever.
Yeah. Well, for you Canadians, same thing.
You know,
because you're not really free.
No. But he's telling him, you know, don't kill yourself in here. And he says that he warned the guards and prison staff in the Manhattan prison that
shouldn't be left alone.
Shouldn't be left alone. Epstein's talking about killing himself and yada, yada, yada.
So you've got to take the word of the jailhouse psychologist. I mean, that guy knows what's going on in the head of another inmate.
Well, yeah. I mean, how would you not trust the word of a guy who's in a maximum security prison in Midtown Manhattan?
Absolutely empathetic and caring. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I'm just... Andrew Alvarez says, I'm a JFK conspiracy theorist. Does that count? I think at this point in our lives, just being a JFK observationist, it doesn't take rocket scientists to understand that Lee Harvey Oswald was at least in part a patsy and that this deal did not go down the way that they want you to believe. No. The Warren report was a sham. I believe that Gerald Ford, as inept as he was awarded the presidency for keeping his mouth shut. It's just that simple. He's part of the machine. Gerald Ford had no business.
It wasn't because it wasn't because Nixon was a spy on the Democrats,
right? I mean, no doubt about it. I'm convinced that Marco Rubio is better suited to the day-to-day of being the president of the United States and might be a really nice compromise between the left and Donald Trump. Not that Rubio's not a dyed-in-the-wool conservative, just that he's a more approachable guy.
Well, he took on Trump in 16, right? Or 20. I can't remember which one. 20, I think, right? When Trump lost to Biden.
Right.
But so he wasn't a MAGA guy then. But Trump's smart enough to know, you know, surround yourself with smart people.
What he did is he surrounded himself from J.D. Vance to Rubio to you name it, Tulsi Gabbard to all of them, RFK. He surrounded himself with people who had been attacked by the dark state. That's exactly what he did. Every one of them had been attacked in one way or the other. By the dark state or the deep state
and the media.
And what he did was he said, I need people who have weathered the storm. I need people that can understand, like Tulsi Gabbard, who was on a no-fly list, just the most absurd thing on the planet.
And in the case of Gabbard and RFK Jr., two prominent former Democrats who were completely ostracized and shunned by their party
just for not buying the whole party line.
Exactly. They didn't keep walking it.
I agree that RFK Jr. is certainly not a doctor. He's not a physician, but he's a pretty healthy guy in his mid-70s. And what he has exposed is the rampant corruption and the quid pro quo of the medical community. He's also, I think, done great work at trying to get certain components out of our food stream. I mean, I think the guy's been smart, but the fact is he's not a Republican.
These are all things he championed when he was a Democrat.
That's right.
And working to better the environment.
And they loved him when he was a Democrat. But when he decided, well, if you won't give me a shot at being president, then I'll go help the president. I care enough about the country to get on board with that administration.
Where he really broke rank with the Democrats was when he did not fall lockstep with all the COVID stuff. That's what did it. Because don't forget, this is a guy that used to use all his influence to host a yearly environmental get-together in Banff, Alberta. Not exactly the most environmentally friendly place to get to. There's a private airport. They all flew into there or into Calgary, and then they would take limos and big cars to Banff, stay at the Banff Springs Hotel or the Rimrock, whichever one it was held at. But everybody would fly into there while telling you need to stop destroying the environment. It was one of those gab fests, right? And they loved him. They supported him. They gave millions and millions of dollars to his conservation efforts and his environmental efforts. And then when he didn't believe in the COVID scam, he was shunned ostracized and kicked out of the Democrat Party.
Scam being the key word. John Anderson asked from over in the Carolinas. He says, statement, I like the shirt, Brent. Are the Drifters still performing, or is Gary Prukop completely on his own from the original group? You'll get the chance to hear because he'll be here in studio in less than 20 minutes. We're going to let Gary come in and tell us what's going on in his world. Good morning, David Ballard. And by the way, shout out to Alicia.
I don't know where you're going with this one.
Gara. I just drawn a blank. That's because I worked out with her and her husband Rick yesterday, and Cody and Elizabeth Chandler, and I nearly died, but I am here. She thought that it might just be the wait and show this morning because I was near death.
Near death? Well, no.
Alicia did
glad
great.
You're here. Should we take a break and then move on?
I'll take that as a yes.
All right, good. Where do you want to start?
You go.
Well, we are live from the Atson Offer studio, as we are every single morning. Atson Offer for all your service needs of any make and model. If you're planning a road trip this summer, no better time than now to make a call to Adela. Get your car in to be looked over before you make that road trip.
Service all makes and models. You need to have your AC checked, your belts checked. You need to have your coolant levels checked. They can check the wear and tear on your brakes. They can exchange your wiper blades. It's all the stuff that you don't really think about, but when it gets hot, your battery needs to be checked. Batteries go out more in the summer than any other time because the heat.
They go out more in the south than they ever did in living in Canada.
Because it's always cold up there, eh?
Yeah, the cold cranking amps are great when it's cold, but the heat is worse on a battery than the cold ever will be. Get into Wacky Wing Wednesday today at the chopping block. All your marinated wing favorites on sale today at the chopping block. Plus, they've got all the meat you need for Father's Day coming up this weekend. Cook the meat that Dad loves to eat this Sunday.
Oh, cook the meat that Dad loves to eat.
You like that, huh? Just right there off the top of my head right now.
Right?
Yep. Caldo Wednesday today at Veracruz. Get in for a steaming hot bowl of caldo plus everything else on the menu as well. If caldo's not your fancy today, which it should be, but if it's not, you still got, 50 some odd other items to choose from. And don't forget to give Went Services a call. Tell them Wade and Carter sent you and get a quote on a whole home backup generator with Tropical Storm Arthur potentially forming in the Gulf. If this thing ramps up, you're going to want to make sure the next one doesn't catch you off guard.
And then USA Foundation Repair, let them come out and help you all this rain. Going to make your pier and beam house want to shift around if the doors aren't closing. It's not because the doors are swelling. It's because your house is leaning. Bill, 578 home. Let Charlie Garcia come out.
Half of Victoria is built on old rice paddies. So
finish the quip for me. You said cook all the meat that Dad wants to. Mm-hmm. Gas, grass, or nobody rides for free.
Nope.
Did you ever hear in Canada, put your meat on the seat or your feet on the street?
No, never heard that one.
That's the lost verse of Honey, It's Cold Outside. Yeah, the lost verse. Nope, Torrin Bales, good morning, sir. Praying for you and your family. Torrin lost his dad on June the 2nd, a day after his 86th birthday.
So this was interesting. We find out after the fact that a mom called police.
My boy's out of control.
Yeah, he's looking up white supremacist stuff, Nazi sympathizers. He's bought a bunch of guns, ammunition, and body armor.
Got to be a tough call for a mom to make, but clearly acknowledging I can't reach this kid who's an adult.
19 years old. Tyson Proper is his name.
From where?
From Virginia, or from, where is he from? Ohio, I think. And he was planning to travel to Virginia before this plot got pretty, they had snipers. They were going to use drones to invade the airspace, drop a bunch of bombs on the crowd. And as they were fleeing, the plot was to have a bunch of snipers in position to pick off political targets that they identified would be at the event and then shoot them as they were running out of the UFC event in panic.
The mother told investigators the attack was intended to jumpstart a revolution in the United States. Proper lived in Knox County, Ohio, about 70 miles northeast of Columbus. Did you see where the Republican governor of Ohio, says that he's had a change of heart and wants to do away with the death penalty in Ohio?
Really?
Says that he no longer believes that after the facts have been revealed to him of how many people end up dying on death row, committing suicide, living at tremendous expense on death row, that of the very few that are finally put to death for their crimes, the reality is he doesn't believe it's a deterrent anymore against murder or other death penalty worthy crimes. But the idea is, to me, it certainly is a deterrent to that killer.
I would say so.
Right. So I have no problem with going ahead and putting those people down. Yeah, no doubt about it.
So yeah, they had an AR-15, they had body armor, they had ballistic plates. So
absolutely. We want to get our guest in here.
Yeah, sure.
Why don't we do that? Well, Gary, why don't you just come on in? I'll run through another break real quick while we do that, and you get you set up right over here. Part of Vita Wellness and Vita Cafe. I drove by and spoke to Erica Briggs just yesterday. They were out running the streets and doing work and taking stuff to the Vita Cafe from the main kitchen there at Par Vita Wellness. She's inviting you to get in and get healthy. And we encourage you to let her help you with your macros and stuff. Just take her your
diet plan.
Your diet plan. There's Eric Stewart checking in. Good morning, Eric. Eric, another part of the Wade and Carter family from Atzenhofer. So we're going to be joined now. There's that camera for the boss. Give him a microphone. And we're going to go ahead and there's your public right there, bud. And we're going to say hi and welcome our friend, Mr. Gary Prukop, to the program. I had somebody ask me,
to be here.
John Anderson, you remember Brent Anderson and John asking me why I was wearing my Drifter shirt.
Hey.
I said, hey, man, it's good taste never goes out of style.
All right. We appreciate that, brother.
How are you, sir? And what's been happening?
I'm doing great. Oh, man, just been taking it easy and playing music here and there.
Tell folks what you've been doing. John, what have you been doing for the last, 45 years? What's been going on?
Oh, my gosh. I've been I was with the Drifters for like 16 years. Then I went to Nashville and did a project. Got fed up with the way that worked. Came back, started running body shops. My cousins had ALM Motorworks, or made limousines over here on Rio Grande. Worked for them, learned the ins and outs of that business, and started managing body shops. Ended up down in Ranzas Pass for 20 years running that collision center for Ford, Lincoln, Mercury.
Right.
And then I came back. Well, on weekends, this guy came by my house one day and started listening to some of my music. Said, "You need to be doing this again."
It's true.
Said, no, I got out of it in '97, man. So anyway, he booked me at a steakhouse unbeknownst to me, and I had to get a little PA, and now I've been doing it for 10 years since then,
I'll take you down a side road. Just this conversation we haven't prepped each other in any way, but I've been hooked on Sirius XM on channel 125. They had the Hotel California as one of those brief stints of the Eagles music, and Don Henley sits in, which Don Henley, to me and to our generation, he's just eminently cool. I mean, the guy has gone through 50 years of being an Eagle. I mean, no scandal. I think he's married. You just don't know much about the guy because he just does what he does, keeps his mouth shut and goes on about his way. But Dawn and I, with Alan and Janet Miller, the Allen's Record Service folks, had the opportunity to see the Eagles at what now is Daikin. At the time it was Minute Maid in Houston. In the first tour that they did with Vince Gill after Glenn Fry had passed.
Right.
And I made the comment at the time, which is kind of sacrilege, that Vince Gill is everything Glenn Fry is, but better. Sings better guitar player. And it was so cool to hear Don Henley on the program say, there's two guys, because it took two guys to replace Glenn. One was Vince Gill. The other was, I think his name is Derek Fry, I think.
That's
Glenn's son.
Yeah.
And
Deacon.
they're both in the band now as well. But I think about the Drifters and the folks that rotated in and out through the band. Like the Eagles had Randy Meisner, and then they had Timothy B. Schmidt. And you think about Joe Walsh being the new guy with the Eagles, except he's been there since Hotel California in 1976.
Right.
I mean, he's been there 50 years, Ash, but he's the new guy. He used to be with the James Gang. How do you stay in touch with any of the old Drifters guys? And do you guys have any connection anymore?
There's the core group. We stick together and communicate. Mark Sheeman, he's living in San Antonio now. Urban Urbana was a heck of a drummer. He's out of San Antonio. Clint Robinson is like a program director type guy, KULP in El Campo. Then, of course, Gary Herrera here, who sat in, was a keyboardist here in Victoria. He's a phenomenal keyboardist. And awesome. I keep in touch with those guys.
So tell people about your...
And also Paul Carell. Oh, what a bass player. He's up there, I think, Washington State now.
Wow. Your old stomping grounds.
My old stomping grounds.
Tell us about, I know you're coming up soon. You've got a show at...
tomorrow night I'll be at La Cantina right here downtown.
It's a fantastic spot. Tacos and tequila right here on Main Street. And it's you'll take a request.
Right.
People get up and dance. There's food and drink.
Dance there. There's dance room and people love it.
You have somewhat of a cult following.
Yeah, I think a lot of those people are old Drifter fans.
Well, I noticed when you come up tomorrow night, when you come up to Tacos and Tequila, you will see there will be an assemblage of wheelchairs and walkers with the tennis ball. They'll all be stacked up outside the front door. But it is true that if you go, and Dawn and I have done it many times, if we go to that program, we see a lot of the same folks that we saw back in high school. And you see a lot of the same people, Rena and Calvin Shearer, Marvin and Pat O'Neill. They'll be there. Ricky and Dana Moore de la Garza, they'll be there.
And there'll be some young people that like that music.
Absolutely.
That it's phenomenal the way some of these young kids love the stuff from back then and they dance to it.
Well, then you've got you have another big program coming up at the Bomb Diggity.
Saturday at 9 is the Bomb Diggity. We're going to do the $100 giveaway again. When we have a weekend coming up with us, a holiday or something, spring break or whatever, Father's Day, we have a $100 giveaway. Everybody gets a ticket, and then around sometime during the show, we give away a $100 bill.
There you go.
So they can buy their briskets or whatever,
Did you have, I'm not sure, because a lot of the stuff that you played, that when they were traveling around back in the 70s and early 80s, a lot of the stuff that you played, you did a lot of cover music, but you covered complex music. I mean, you guys played the Eagles, you played, Pickett, Van Halen, whatever, you played it. Is there any one group that you feel like really influenced you? That's like, man, if we could be like blank, we could be on the right track.
Well, I'd say Eagles was always a challenge. Took a lot of work, and believe it or not, Bee Gees, we had those vocal parts down, and when we came out that one Saturday night at Wasatch Hall and did Staying Alive, and that Mariball, that laser hit that Mariball, people went completely
crazy.
They freaked out. Yeah, and
that's pre-fentanyl too, folks. Those people were just on a natural high.
It was a business, and we met on Tuesdays for vocals for a business meeting, and then on Wednesdays evening we had vocal practice. We weren't on the road. So we had it was a business. It had to be done right.
Well, you did stuff like you said, the Bee Gees and the Eagles, harmony, heavy music, and the Drifters certainly had that.
Right.
There are a lot of people, there are a lot of kids in this community that were born as the result of their parents being at a Drifters.
And marriages too.
Divorces too, probably.
Any Drifters reunions coming up? I know you did a couple in the past.
Well, we did 3 of them, and the guys decided it's probably be the last time we'd get together because we're so spread out, and it's. But it was a blast. Let me tell you, they were all great. We had a great time, and I got to give credence to Brother Gary Moses, who first instilled in me a need to come back for the downtown area. Let's get the downtown area going. He was in on that deal.
Yeah.
So it came down. That's how I got into the La Cantina.
You got to be careful, Ash, because if you're not, Shannon will get out there and get to jamming around, and his guitar got tangled up in somebody's IV tube, and the next thing you know, we've got a problem. Guys are, geez, we're getting older. No, but those shows were fantastic. Community Center and the others at Inez.
First one was at Victoria Community Center. Then
Right.
we had Inez, and then back for New Year's Eve, bringing in 25 at the Community Center.
Fantastic.
Those were great shows.
The music was great, still great. You do a tremendous job. So many of your drifters' favorites and old. You do a really fun show. It's you can sit and just listen. It's a very entertaining show.
Or you can get up and dance. That's
Yeah.
the great part about it.
Or you can buy Gary a beer. He will play for beer. That ought to be on his T-shirt.
Probably was at one point.
Absolutely.
What time tomorrow night at La Cantina?
What's that?
What time tomorrow night?
Oh, 6 to 9.
6 to 9 tomorrow night, and then Saturday at the Bomb Diggity.
6:30 to 9:30.
All right, there you go.
And of course, Friday I'll be at the Irish Pub in Fulton Beach, Rockport.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, man, he's got it all under control. So we appreciate you coming by.
bet. I
We'll do
brought
our
y'all-
best to see you.
Some of my daughter's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Oh,
Did you
nice.
really?
I mean,
Nice.
Wow.
yeah, they are excellent, brother.
You are a good man.
I'll have to take those off Brent's hands
How
because you
about
can't eat
those?
those.
Dawn's at home right now. She's sending me a message. Do not eat the cookies. Do not eat the cookies.
I can eat the cookies.
Man,
Can't eat just one, believe me.
I never could.
hey, we appreciate you.
Been a
and
pleasure
thanks
coming
for-
by with you guys. Good
Thanks,
to see
Gary.
y'all
Really
again.
appreciate seeing you
You
again.
bet.
Thanks for sharing your talent with us for all these years.
Absolutely.
You bet, man.
And we hope that you have a great show.
I enjoyed you the other night when you opened up for Endless Summer, the Beach Boys tribute.
yeah, you
hey,
was
that
great.
was great. Now those guys, you talk about harmonies.
Weren't they good?
They were great,
And then
man.
if you you don't really have to squint very hard. They were believable.
Thank Ron Koshin putting that thing on for Wounded Warriors. That was a
Absolutely.
great deal.
So, well, hey,
All
we'll
right, guys.
close this.
One
We
question.
appreciate
John Anderson wants to know if you remember him doing backflips
I
under
do.
the spotlight at the
And he
Riverside
had-
Market Square.
Yeah, and he had something he could do with his belly. He could
Oh,
you.
Lord.
Yeah, he could
something
make
with
it
his
do
belly.
like it was like a belly
He was big
dancer
on a belly
thing.
dancer type deal for men.
Yeah. Yeah, that was John. I think I remember John being forcibly removed from Riverside Market Square. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding, John.
There you go, John.
He
You
thanks
got,
him for
you
the
got more than you
Carolinas.
asked for, John.
There you go.
Well, thank all you Drifter fans out there all over the region out here. Thank y'all so much for all the great years, and good luck to all of you. And thank
Hey.
you guys for having me.
We love
Appreciate
you, buddy.
it, Gary.
We'll see you soon. He's also going to play our, I guess it's pick 45th high school reunion gig we're going to have from Victoria High for the
Is
class
he?
of 81.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Looking forward to that. We'll see you, buddy. I'll
See
get
you,
you the
Gary.
container back. Thanks for the cookies. That's awesome. Great guy and a great musician and really a historic asset to Victoria. Been here a long time doing what they do.
So details out of Iran, slow to come with this deal. My question to you, are we really any further ahead in Iran than we were before the war started? And let me just remind folks, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran had throttled, and the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports has now been lifted, or as a part of this, when the MOU officially gets signed on Friday, then they've got a 60-day period to discuss during a ceasefire. But before the war, the Strait of Hormuz was not throttled by Iran, and the U.S. ships were not blockading Iranian ports. So are we any further ahead now than we were February 27th before this all began?
Yeah, I'm not sure because I was vocal enough to state that without returning to the U.S. with the nuclear dust, you did not accomplish the mission. George H.W. Bush was among the first to say, we need a clear and defined mission so we can know whether or not we accomplished the goal. Trump emphatically said that he was going in to prevent Iran from ever having a nuclear weapon. And he emphatically said, I will bring home the uranium, didn't he?
Yeah.
More than once. So in that regard, he failed. There's no getting around it. The same people who say any butt whipping that they got, Iran had coming, which I agree with, must at least admit that they have suffered horrific setbacks in any of their military goals. They've lost immeasurably more IRGC members than we did military members. They lost, quite arguably, their entire Navy.
That'll take a while to get back, but they've shown a rather quick ability to quickly recover their drone capabilities when things stop for 2 to 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden they started firing drones again. So they're able to get them from somewhere. My guess is China and Russia.
Yes, and I think that to a degree, this conflict was worthwhile to expose the fact that the Iranians, who have nothing in common with the communists, nothing in common with China, except a hatred for the West, to expose the fact that they are supported in large part by China and Russia, which means since Iran is the largest state-sponsored promoter of terrorism, since they funnel funding and equipment to, say, Hezbollah, that means you can draw a very distinct line that includes Russia and China against those that would appear to be our allies.
And we didn't get regime change. We may have knocked 2 layers of Ayatollahs out, but they just pop up the next Ayatollah and nothing has really changed.
Yeah.
So
sooner or later, we'll get down to the group of people over there that want to live or that aren't willing to die. But you just can't. I don't understand the Islamic mentality where everything in their theocracy revolves around sexuality. All of it does. The absolute intolerance and disdain for homosexuality, the absolute that it's okay to sexually assault women if it teaches them a lesson. There are stories of brothers raping their brother's wife because she got mouthy with the husband.
There's reports coming out of England that I saw yesterday got released, and they're starting to gain traction in the mainstream media. And I was listening to some of this morning, read some of it yesterday.
It's a multi-year report.
It's disturbing. It is the most vile, organized syndicate of depravity, and it all has a component of religion behind it as to the reasoning for it. It's disgusting. And these are young girls. These aren't women.
No, they're many in their early teens.
And some of it is these gangs of men would hang out, and we're getting into something we don't want to get into today. They would hang outside of orphanages or children's homes where, basically what used to be orphanages.
Kids without a lot of parental supervision.
No. They would hang out there till they would come outside, and then they would prey on them and pounce on them. And it's just
tell them how pretty they are, give them alcohol,
drugs,
and the next thing you know, and the part of the systemic raping of the UK has been the cooperation of what's largely Pakistani taxi drivers. They lure a young person, come on, let's go, there's a party. They give them a couple of drinks, and then one perpetrator lures the young girl into the car of a associate, who then takes her to a place other than the party where she becomes the party for a gang of men, sometimes for many days. And she's told that you're now ruined, you're now trash, you're just white trash. So the overwhelming number of these young girls are white UK citizens. And they're
from broken homes,
raped multiple times. The number that he used on Breitbart this morning was 250,000 of these victims in the UK. They're trafficked. Many have become pregnant.
And systemic failures all along the way. Police didn't believe them when having to go to the ERs for treatment. no questions asked, treated, released.
Not like
when they had
the
objects
US.
shoved up inside these girls and broken off inside these girls, and the doctors didn't ask a question.
Yeah, very, very systemic. And again, I think that as we speak, these things are potentially occurring right here in the United States. And it's not going to get better. There are just certain groups of people that don't coexist with our Western culture. They just don't. And yet we keep trying to make them, because if you're not careful, pick one. You're misogynistic, you're Islamophobic, you're a segregationist.
You're a racist.
You're a racist.
And that's some of the defenses in this report, that they were the people that didn't say anything feared being labeled a racist and their lives destroyed because they were going to speak out against these Pakistani cabals that were doing this.
Because like Scott Snow says, they are told to turn a blind eye.
I don't think they were told. The Pakistanis use shame culture against these girls to keep them under control, but society used that same shame culture to silence anybody who could have done something in the UK to stand up for these girls, because they feared what was going to happen to them if they said anything against this.
Yeah. Well, they're told if you tell anybody, we'll kill you, we'll kill your family.
Yeah.
And they very well might.
Yeah.
But the whole idea for the radical Islamic person, the idea of doing anything to obtain 72 virgins, it's all about sex. It's all about controlling women. And it blows my mind how the left, who supposedly is the champion of women, yet wants to violate Title IX and let men into women's sports. The left, who's supposed to be every woman must be believed, turns a blind eye willfully to what is no doubt a Muslim problem in this country.
And this is a radical. I mean, this is the religion being used radically to control people.
Yeah,
in Iran and in other countries. Michelle Wasnaga says, crazy to see Americans cheering for the Iranians and hoping they sweep during the World Cup. I don't know that it is. I don't know that you can draw a line from those playing soccer for the Iranian national team to the IRGC, although there are probably some parallels, unlike the women's team, who recently had issues and threats against their families if they defected. But no word what happened to the 5 members that actually defected, I think, in Australia on the women's team, and their fate once they said, okay, we'll come back. But now the Iranians are saying, well, we're being treated differently. They're staying.
You are. We've been at war with your
and certain people in your entourage aren't allowed in the United States for good reason. So you're complaining about that. You're staying in Tijuana. So they played the other night. Then they complained they had to get on a plane and go back to Tijuana. You've got games in this country where teams are flying from the north, the Meadowlands, to Houston to play their next game.
And by the way, the fact of the matter is, it's for your own good. You may not be safe in the United States. It's much like you've got a group of radicalized Americans that were talking about blowing up a UFC event. Do you not think that if somebody knew of the hotel where the Iranian team was, there might not be some radical, extreme right-wing nut job who might do something crazy?
Absolutely.
I think it's good. But I do agree with Michelle that it's crazy to see Americans cheering for Iran in the World Cup. There is no reason for an American to cheer for Iran in the World Cup.
I think also what's interesting is the Iranians are complaining that they're staying in Mexico, or I don't know if the Iranians are complaining, but one writer was trying to make the case that they're staying in Mexico, but they're not playing any games in Mexico. Tijuana is closer to LA than it is to Mexico City.
Absolutely.
Or to Guadalajara or to Monterrey, where the games are being played in Mexico. Proximity-wise, all their games are being played in Inglewood outside of LA.
It's a nothing burger.
It is a nothing burger, but they're trying to make it. They're trying to make it a problem. And the Iranians, they're not good at soccer. They're, they're in a week.
They're no threat to win.
No.
John Anderson says, do you think all this craziness will trigger another civil war in America?
That idiot that tried to attack or had planned to attack the UFC fight the other night, that was his goal. He wanted to trigger a civil war.
I think that to a degree we are in a civil war right now. It's just that the left couldn't crush a grape in a fruit fight. I have zero concern about some leftist coming up and slapping me on the cheek. They're just not prepared for the wrath. And I think that also, you and I have talked about for years, a decade now, coming up in November, that the Republicans are almost always kind of apologetic when they're in power. They don't move too swiftly because they're always trying to get the left to see their side of things and join me in the aisle. And the left, bless their hearts, is, while they're often wrong, they're never in doubt. And they're completely united on the other side of the aisle saying, come all the way to us. Come all the way to us or there'll be no compromise. And the reality is, the right, the conservative movement in this country has gotten to the breaking point with the left where you're going to start seeing, you will begin to see more senseless violence in the name of politics. You're going to see people that identify as conservative are going to start taking the fight to the left. It is going to happen. The left simply cannot win a civil war in this country. They simply don't have the heart for battle. They don't.
But I don't think it's going to happen that way. You look at the ones that are now resorting to violence. Leftists and the actual fascists who hate Trump.
And the people who claim, and the moral high ground in politics these days is the lukewarm conservative. He's the guy that says, well, I do believe that we should fund everything for our veterans and we should put America first in that regard, but not America first alone, America first with compromises and yada, yada, yada. And it's that lukewarm rhino type conservative that doesn't seem to accept that the pendulum must be forced to the right and then drift back to moderation. We're at a point in this country where the left does so much with
it's gone so far left.
Emotional issues, right? That it's going to take a real reset.
And if you look at history, the pendulum swings further and further every time, right? You had FDR on the left and you came back with Truman.
And yet 80% of us still reside in the middle.
Yeah. And, then they were worried about, then you had the communist scare and we were capturing people who we just sneezed and thought they sneezed out the word communist. Right.
Yeah. Extreme hysteria over the, I'm not.
And that's where it swung to the right. And now
we're afraid of a communist because I can just show you historically where it's never worked. Show me a place where it's worked. China as a communist nation doesn't work without the capitalism of the United States. They'd be starving to death if
they were floundering. It's why they conned Nixon.
That's right.
Into going there and opening up the world's eyes, so to speak, to what was going on in China. But they only saw what they wanted. We only saw as a world what they wanted us to see. And they rooked us and they snookered us into believing that they're good people, the leaders I'm talking about, not the Chinese in general.
Right.
And they only want what's best for their people.
And they hate us worse than
Mao
anybody
Zedong
else.
killed more Chinese people than Hitler and Stalin combined.
Amen. But see, here's the deal. With the American, the weak backboned American, what the American has shown through this experiment as the Iranian war is that Americans, after 2 or 3 months, are just verklempt over my gas prices went up. Yeah. If you want to make China irrelevant globally, Somebody come out with an American-made television and you pay twice as much for a Curtis Mathis TV made in America, where the quality goes in before the name goes on. And China will go broke. We as Americans funnel China the technology to make TVs cheaper because their labor is slave labor. So you buy a Chinese-made television for $400 that would cost you $950 in the U.S. because an American guy who's got to make a living wage and needs full benefits, that guy's got to be involved in assembling that television.
Which is interesting because I'm guessing you could make an iPhone or a smartphone in the U.S. cheaper.
No doubt.
Well, maybe not cheaper, but you could sell it for the same price. Your profit margins just wouldn't be quite as large.
Right. Apple wouldn't make quite as much. It's the greed of the big corporations that really holds us back.
That's part of it. I mean, that phone, I mean, think about the technology.
That phone doesn't cost $50 to make.
Think about the technology that's gone into televisions and how much large, big screen TVs. I mean, you know, now you can get an 85-inch TV for
under
less than
$1,000.
I mean, you're basically paying like a $10 per square inch or per inch, right? The iPhones and the Android phones have not come down in price since they were introduced.
How much?
They've only gone up.
How much would you buy it? $10 an inch.
85 inches.
Would you?
I don't need it.
You going to make movies? What are you doing? Anyway, no, you look at it and you just go, hey, if we could just suck it up economically, but Americans have shown they've got no spine for.
And here's the thing.
I can't afford to go to the grocery store. Well, then you can't afford to put China out of business because you don't have the heart for it.
And I think anybody who thought that this war, the gas prices increase as a result of this war was going to cost Trump the election, miscalculated. If this memo of understanding does not result in less cash going back to Iran and complete dispersal, removal, and giving up of all their nuclear material, that will cost the Republican Party the midterms.
Do you want my prediction?
Sure.
In line with the COVID, in line with the Joe Biden, do you want my prediction?
Yes.
I'm predicting today, June 17th, 2026, that for whatever reason, to include all circumstances, that Donald J. Trump does not finish his term as the 47th president. I'm predicting that at some point you will see J.D. Vance ascend to the presidency in this current term prior to the 28 election. I think that will happen. Number one, in my vision, Donald Trump is still alive because it could include, I mean, he could be replaced, right? 25th Amendment for cognitive decline, assassination. He could drop dead of a heart attack or of his 900 cholesterol. He could die from all kinds of things, all of these things that would allow J.D. Vance to become president. I'm just telling you, I believe it's going to happen between now and November of 27. I do. And, or 28. What is it? 28.
28.
So yeah, I'm telling you that I don't believe Donald Trump will finish this term as president. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad deal, depending on how J.D. Vance becomes president and what the circumstances are around that transition. We could lose the midterms. Donald Trump could be impeached. If we lose the midterms, Donald Trump will be impeached. And I could see him saying, you know what? To heck with it. I'm done. I'm not quitting on the American people. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to get out of the way and let J.D. Vance finish the job. You're trying to make it about me. I'm trying to make it about the country. I'm going to let J.D. Vance carry the torch. But whatever the circumstance will be, remember that on this day in 2026, I told you that I don't believe Donald Trump will finish this term as president of the United States. And I've never said that about a president.
There you go. Folks, we've reached the top of the hour. We do have to go.
Hope you guys have a great day. Be safe. Enjoy the little bit of today is the day to get out and knock that yard down. It may be wet, but it ain't going to be dry for long. So knock it down. Folks, have a great day. Be safe on the roads. We love you. And thank you, Gary Prukop, for coming by and spending a few minutes. And we'll talk to you guys mañana.
Bye, folks.